Learn to listen when it's grown men talking, cause real spit you don't find that often. Learn to listen when it's grown men talking, cause real spit you don't find that often.
Anti-Violence Ventures, which is an organization that wants to get more information and also wants to help you distribute resolutions for the community, for those of us that are dealing with different types of violence, whether it be street, domestic violence, and things of that nature. So, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and proceed and go right on into the show with that.
Excuse me, I don't mean to cut you off.
You know, it's as a black man, how do you define violence?
Right.
Yeah.
There are a few different. A traditional definition of violence would be an abuse of power involving coercion, physical, emotional, or sexual abuse imposed by someone else or the other person in an intimate relationship. And for us, that's a general definition of. But do you guys have different definitions from your perspective and realities of abuse?
You kind of covered all of them. I mean, it's also definitely you have to add intent in that too, with the intent to harm. So you covered pretty much.
I get that general definition, but the word abuse to me,
You said violence, right? You said violence.
Violence.
You said define my definition of violence.
violence or abuse.
Okay.
Abuse is any abuse. Use anything for other than what its intentions are, or what was intended for, or its purpose.
Okay.
So if we are abusing something, that must mean that either you don't care to use that person or that thing for what its intent was. You can take a straight edge blade or a razor blade. You try to brush your teeth with it, you have some bloody gums.
Yeah.
So we first will probably need to know what the purpose of something or someone in our life is.
Growing up the way we did, like, I didn't really consider verbal abuse violence because we joked a lot.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, and I got some great news, man. I remember telling you guys, I grew up and with the young lady, like, I was joking a lot with her, and I kind of scarred her. And that was a form of violence.
Right.
Just this week, bro.
That was bullying.
Bullying, yeah.
That was real shit. That was bullying. I don't know what the hell.
Abuse.
You want. The hell you think?
Because you have covered up then.
Yeah, as a kid.
Right.
As a kid, for those of you who don't know, like, we joke a lot.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I didn't realize the effect that I would have on somebody, even to this day, joking on somebody so much.
Right.
And it was a lot. It was excessive. And I
It was excessive?
Yeah.
You did it too much?
I did.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
He's on it.
Yeah, I'm on it, but I don't want transgressions.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying.
Hi, my name is Urban Pope, and I am.
Yeah.
So to me, from that point on, she was always my hero.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Wow. So,
Excuse me, Trevor. Carmen said, put the mask on.
Put the mask on. Right?
WTF, whatever that means.
Or pull your beard up over it.
Yeah.
You know.
so
Yeah. Thank you, Carmen.
thank you, Carmen. I'll put on the mask. Tell you what.
I mean, we're in there.
Right, but you have on mask, or however. Anyway, so back to the
You
topic.
walked in, right?
Back to the topic. Or better yet, you lend us your information and or help to the other viewing audience so that they can have some idea of resolutions. So now, you said you didn't grow up in an abusive household. You said that you saw a few things. So how do you think, and how does the audience think? And please do, if you want to open up and share, we do welcome that. What I realized, one of the things that I realized is, once you witness certain different types of and different forms of, whether it be physical or sexual abuse, especially as a child, that also affects those children growing up, because sometimes, just in case some of you don't know, what I had I found out about about 13 years ago, that 48% of the children at one particular school grew up in homes that were with people other than their parents. Then at another school, it was 49% of the children grew up in homes with children that were parents that were, with people that were other than their parents. So now, basically, this is a public school. We're sending our children to almost an orphanage. So the foster care program is way bigger and much more of a lucrative business than we would have thought. There are quite a few people that have made mention that they were foster kids. And I had known that some of the very people next to me were foster kids and or abused.
Right.
I had a friend that had almost lost his business because he was taking care of foster kids. It's just an overflux of abused children, whether it be emotionally and or sexually. And what I've also come to learn is the most commonly unaddressed, but also harder to detect abuse is the emotional abuse. So with that being said, what would be your input on that? Your household is solid. Then the community or your street can become more solid. If your street is more solid, then your community or your neighborhood will be more solid. And if your neighborhood is more solid, then your community is more solid, but it all starts at the home. We got to realize too, though, that the evil geniuses that has been imposed upon us is to break up our homes, but we have to fight to keep our homes together. We have to fight for our children to have balance so that the next generation after us could be okay, or after that household could be okay.
We have to be cognizant of the home that we're making before.
Right.
Like, I got to pair with somebody who has the same values as I do.
Right.
Starts with the choice of even before you even make a child.
Man.
You know what I mean? It starts there. So I'm not making a home that there's violence in, and then the man is better off leaving because there's violence in the relationship that we haven't talked about yet.
And then too, just because you leave to lessen the violence don't mean you gotta leave the kid.
You're right.
You know, you can.
And then also you gotta fix the system that's against the father from being there, or disallowing because of a mistake.
Right.
So I don't have the rights to be there for my kid.
Right. And that's what they're doing. They don't. So enjoy the rest of your week. Be safe out there, your weekend, and meet us here again next Wednesday at 8 o'clock.
First of all, thank you for tuning in, and we appreciate acknowledging, even though it's not necessarily a sweet topic, but we also want to make sure that those of you right now, especially during this season, whether it be our political climate or having to stay home and be with your children and family members, we're forced with the decision. Either we're going to make it happen, or we'll come up with some resolution, or better yet, a solution for resolution. As they say quite often, shit or get off the pot. Let's make it work together. Let's unify our homes, or cordially agree to disagree. Let's also understand that the abuses that take place can be on different sides of the spectrum. There are women, children, and men that get abused. There's 15% of men that, or better yet, 50% of abuses are recorded on men. However, the numbers are higher than that, but they don't record it. There are children right now that are being abused, whether it be mentally, emotionally, or even sexually, unfortunately. But they can't report the perpetrator because they live with them. I encourage any of you that if you know anyone that is being abused, please do call in for them, or at least discuss it with them first. Look at some of the signs, find out what some of the signs of abuse are, address it with that person, and if there is some way, somehow you can communicate with that person that they may need some help, go ahead and be the difference, or be that angel that they may need. You may be abused for a time or a certain season, but the after effects of the abuse can go well over into your adulthood and even old age. The things that you do and the way that you govern yourself is impacted by your subconscious, where that hurt lies. So, with that being said, I pray that all of you are safe. Regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, Republican or Democrat, I pray for you. I pray that you have a great week. I hope that you have an awesome week. And I hope we can come together and solve the problems that are being abused by our current
Learn to listen when it's grown men talking, cause real spit you don't find that often. Learn to listen when it's grown men talking, cause real spit you don't find that often. Every discussion from experience.